Alrighty, Lagos, you're welcome back. If you just joined us, it's time for Business Express. Apparently, it's your favorite show.
Yes,
Everybody
and
out there.
yes, of course, of course. All of a sudden, you're saying your flagship show at 7:30. People out there know what the real
This is our
flagship show is.
flagship business show.
Which kind
Yeah.
of flagship business show? Flagship overall show.
And of course, Rotus needs no introduction. He's here in the studio
Good
with
morning, Lagos.
Olamide from ARM. Good
One of
morning.
my good morning, Olamide.
Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Rotus.
One of my favorite, if not my favorite analyst. And if you guys are on YouTube, you can see we're wearing matching shirts this morning. We're just, I mean, yeah. I'm really happy that Olamide is here. Yeah.
Well, you know what to do, Lagos. Reach out to us on WhatsApp at 0809-444-0981. And we're streaming live on YouTube, like Rotus mentioned. And you can also send us tweets at Smooth91FM with the hashtag Mrs. Express 91.
Thank you, sir. So, September is gone.
It is.
September is over.
It is
I mean,
today.
the market was Friday was up by like 1.09%. For the month of September, I was actually positive by 0.4% for September. However, we are still down for the year by 11.9%. And I do not, Olamide, do you see us going into positive territory before 2019 is over?
No.
Not a chance.
No.
Wow.
Unless something radical happens.
That's very optimistic.
No, it's not. I mean, it's October already now. There's no way after what? How many months of negative activity that the stock market will end positives here? But we'll see. Okay, so it's funny that well, we have ARM again in the studio with us because last week Emmanuel was here. We're talking about the likelihood of devaluation, and it's funny. There was a report that just came out. I think it was Friday. And Olamide and I, we don't even need notes for the show, yeah, Olamide, because we're always gisting about the markets, yeah, exactly. So we're gisting about it. You guys need to see the faces she makes in the studio, but we're gisting. And we came up. Another report came out about the likelihood of devaluation happening next year. So are you towing the same line as your colleague Emmanuel from last week, or how do you see things?
Yeah, the view remains the same. It's the view of the house. So as much as the case for a devaluation, it gets stronger day by day. The CBN governor has still come out to say that no, it's not. They are bent. They are really, determined to leave currency at the current rate. So if you look at the numbers that we've seen so far at the investors window, which is the IEW window, you find that so compared to the net inflows that we had for the first 6 months of the year, we've actually come out to have we now have like an net outflow in the market. So which means that a lot of people are taking out their money out of the market.
Okay.
And compared to so like I said, we've seen outflow. I think total outflow for the month of August alone, which is just last month, total outflow from the window was over 60%, increased by 60%, and from CBN alone, outflow expanded by about 74%. To over $5.9 billion that actually left that window. So in the real sense of it, inflows too are dropping. I think inflows were down by about 17%. And knowing that we have like a really massive FI maturity coming up over the next 4 months, it just tells you that this is not going to end anytime soon. But of course, what you expect is CBN will probably leave its rates MPR. There will be no change, just to make sure that rates are still attractive to when I mean there will be no change, I mean there will be no change in the monetary policy rate.
Okay.
And then they will continue to play with the OMO rate, see how they can leave it attractive for most investors. Then also knowing that there will probably be inflationary concerns coming up soon. There's a VAT coming up, there's electricity tariff, there's so many things coming up. That just speaks to the inflation will probably not go down as it was, won't maintain the downward trajectory that you had before. And then you probably see investors, there could be one or two jitters in the market. So yeah, the case for devaluation is strong, but as it is, from what we do, language we've gotten from the CBN governor so far is will probably leave rates, do everything it can do to leave rates unchanged. I think so far we've seen over a billion or close to 2 billion leave the reserves already, in 2 months. And so now what would happen is how CBN will play out, what will happen over the next few months and into 2020. But yeah, the case is strong, but from what they are giving out, most likely
keep things the way they are.
they'll keep fighting fighting the
The good
currency.
fight,
Yes, it's
All right,
that's what we'll see. But at least for this year, we're expecting reserves to end at about $9.7 billion.
Okay. All right. Question from Kewe. This question will never end. People will continue to send this thing, no matter how many times you answer it, and I love it. Keep asking the same question. It's all good. I'm sure somebody else has the same thing. But Kewe says, "Hi, I'm Kewe. Guys, please, I want to know if people make money from forex, and if you can recommend where to learn the skill set." Okay, so for the umpteenth time, I love getting this question. Kewe, there's a ton of forex training websites all over the place. Just Google forex training. I can't really recommend any specific sites, but you can just go on there. The key thing is that you train with monopoly money. So this is this is October. So for the next 6 months to a year, between October 2019 to October 2020, just train every day with market conditions using fake money and see how things go. When you become an expert, then you can now try your real money. To answer your question, yes, there are people who make money from forex trading, but it is highly risky, highly volatile. You can lose everything. Olamide, anything you want to throw in about forex trading?
Well, I mean, you said it all. Once you once you try it out, you understand the market. Understand how the currencies move. Basically, you can make money off.
The thing about forex trading is that people don't sleep. You have to sit in front of your computer because I think as Asian markets open, I don't know what the time zone is like. So depending on what your currency pays, you can't leave your computer. You have to constantly be watching how the currencies are moving based on government policies and blah 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 blah. Although if you're doing forex trading with Nigeria, you won't get anywhere because the currency hasn't really moved. Although if you bet on it, if you're doing for currency trading between the naira dollar and you place your bet that a devaluation is happening next year, then you might be able to make some money. But anyway, the key thing is to
be optimistic.
Yeah, you have to be optimistic. But the key thing is to say that again. Your mic was off.
Be optimistic.
Exactly, but be optimistic, but have sense. So there's things to do out there. Train yourself, but please be very careful with forex trading. But the answer again, yes, people have made money, but people have also lost money. All right, we move from devaluation to this Bloomberg story that we saw over the weekend. Bloomberg has this chart, Olamide, showing how much Nigeria has spent on subsidies compared to how much is spent on education, healthcare. The chart is crazy. The bar for, if you do bar charts, the bar for subsidies is like one long bar, and then the little bars for education, healthcare, they're very, very tiny. Nigeria is turning 59 tomorrow, and she's still spending money on subsidies. Olamide.
Happy birthday to Nigeria. Hey, bro. I mean, it's a sad, chart or sad story.
I'll put the chart on WhatsApp and on Twitter too, so you guys can see it. Yeah.
So yes, we scrapped we scrapped subsidies some years back, but there's still this element called under recovery, which is just basically telling you that somehow we are still incurring some expenses when it comes to petrol importation and all. Total for 2018 we did almost 600 to 800 billion naira in subsidies. Between January and March, the data isn't updated yet, but between January and March this year we've done almost 200 billion naira in subsidies. And if you go back to our budget, so yes, we keep in nominal terms we allocate more money to education and health, but if you look at the percentage allocation, it's actually been reducing over the past 5 years. I think currently we're allocated about 7 to 10% for the 2018 budget, and despite the allocation, so in nominal terms about 600 billion to education, similar to health, but what you see that we spent in 2018 was just around 71 billion on education, and then on health we spent about 52 billion. Compared to the subsidy numbers that are going, I mean, if at a March you've done almost 200 billion, I'm not sure where we'll be before the end of the year. Although the good thing is prices are not as high as where we were initially, but even at that, it's a really sad case in terms of where our priorities, lie and all. But that's where we are. That's what we're facing.
And it doesn't look like there's any likelihood that we'll stop spending this money on subsidies. It just looks like it's just going to continue to happen.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Okay.
We have messages. Rotus, you want to get to them?
Oh yeah. Benga Kamu says the border is still closed, and Nigerian rice in the market is like 20,000 naira per bag. Can anyone afford that? Benga, yeah, the border closure.
Man, the border closure we're really in a tight situation where you're trying to achieve, reduce the petroleum exports or the smuggling of petroleum products outside which is a good thing, but also we are not producing sufficiently to actually help the situation. I think when we did price check recently, you've seen prices of rice, like I said, it's gone as high as 20,000 naira per bag. You've seen frozen fruits too. Some are not even getting frozen fruits again, so but I mean, I think we need to start focusing on the long run. So for instance, our consumption between around 2015, averaged around 45 to 48 million barrels per 45 to 48 million liters per day is what we consume. But right now, 20 as at 2018 2019, we've crossed 50 million liters. We're doing about 56 million liters per day. So and it's not like the children that have come into the world between the last 3 years are taking more fuel or something. So it just tells you that something is missing, or something is wrong. The CBN we already spoke about the under recovery, which is the additional cost to them. So bringing in more things that are being shipped out, and petrol in Nigeria is one of the cheapest. So most of this the other countries, Niger and the likes, getting it from Nigeria is cheap for them, but also it's coming at a cost to us, which is not also ideal. But I think I think the federal government needs to know how to play its game properly. You don't want to achieve a step here and then the other step you're going backward with the other step. So there needs to be a balance. It's a good thing to close the borders,
yeah.
and there are certain companies that could even benefit from the closure of the borders, but there needs to be a balance. Basically, that's just all it is. So in the long run, it's good, but they need to find a way to balance things at the moment.
All right. Quickly, Yinkus, who was vexing with me that I didn't read his message last time. Yinkus was pleading for Valentine, acronym umpire, because said there were some acronyms you dropped, FM maturities and so on, in the first part of the story that he was hoping we could explain. Yinkus, sorry about that. He also asked if Business Express will be on tomorrow on Nigeria's birthday. Yes, we're here every day. We don't take holidays, Yinkus. Adishunji says Nigeria keeps spending money on wasted resources instead of spending on our future, which is education. This is so pathetic. Let's see, what other message do we have here? Okay, there's no name on this message. Okay, Olubenga is the one that sent this message. Yes, Olubenga, I will post the bar chart on WhatsApp. In fact, I'll share it with you personally. Anybody else that wants to see it, but you'll see it on our Twitter handle as well. What else do we have? Olami, okay, wait, I think that's it. Is that it, Kayode?
That's it.
That's all the time we have for today.
That's all the time we have today.
One day, that news update at 6:30 will surprise everybody. You'll just hear Business Express.
I gave you 2 minutes extra. So
all right. Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody that sent messages. Olamide, thank you so
you.
much for joining us. I didn't tell them that you'll be somewhere later today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us this morning.
Brought to you by EnterSwitch.
When